There's a strange tyranny in being told you should love your life. I've been thinking about this lately, about the quiet violence of forced gratitude, the way we're expected to find joy in everything, to transform every mundane moment into something meaningful. As if feeling neutral about your Tuesday afternoon or your morning commute makes you ungrateful. As if acknowledging that some parts of life are just fine somehow makes you a failure at living. What if I told you that by the time we finish this conversation, you might feel a little less guilty about the things you don't love? That maybe the pressure to find passion in everything is actually keeping you from finding peace in anything. You know that feeling when someone asks what you love about your job and you pause a little too long? When you're supposed to be grateful for another day, but mostly you just feel tired. When you catch yourself going through the motions of things you once thought you enjoyed, wondering when enthusiasm became another item on your to-do list? There's this expectation now that we should wake up excited, that we should love our work, love our routines, love our growth, love our challenges. That if we're not passionate about something, we're doing it wrong. That if we don't have a favorite anything, favorite season, favorite book, favorite way to spend Sunday, we're somehow not living fully. But what if that's not true? What if some of life is meant to be lived in lowercase letters, without exclamation points, without having to turn every experience into a testament to your ability to find meaning? The truth is, most of life happens in the spaces between the things we're supposed to love. In the quiet moments when you're not feeling anything particularly strong about anything particularly important. In the ordinary Tuesday, when you realize you don't have to manufacture enthusiasm for your existence. I think we've confused contentment with complacency, neutrality with numbness. We've been told that if we're not actively loving something, we must be actively feeling it. That emotional flatness is a problem to be solved, rather than a natural state to be honored. But there's something profound about allowing yourself to feel nothing special about special things. About giving yourself permission to show up to your life without having to perform joy, without having to justify your presence with passion. Maybe the reason you feel tired isn't because you're not trying hard enough to love your life. Maybe it's because you're trying too hard to love your life. There's this quiet exhaustion that comes from constantly evaluating your experience, from turning every moment into material for gratitude or growth or inspiration, from asking yourself, am I happy? So often that you forget how to simply be present without judgment. I want to tell you something that might sound revolutionary. You don't have to love Mondays. You don't have to find your passion. You don't have to be grateful for the opportunity to struggle, or thankful for the chance to learn, or excited about the potential for growth. You can just exist. You can show up to your Monday because it's Monday, not because you found a way to make it meaningful. You can do your work because it needs to be done, not because it fulfills some deeper purpose. You can move through your day with competence and presence without having to love every minute of it. There's something deeply rebellious about this in a culture that demands constant enthusiasm, about refusing to turn your ordinary life into a performance of gratitude, about letting some things be neutral without needing to fix that neutrality. I've been learning that peace isn't the same thing as joy. That contentment doesn't require enthusiasm. Bet you can be okay with your life without having to celebrate it every day. Maybe the goal isn't to love everything. Maybe the goal is to stop requiring yourself to love everything. Let me share what I've discovered about finding rest in the space between having to love your life and being allowed to simply live it. First, give yourself permission to feel neutral about things that matter. Your job, your relationships, your hobbies, your goals. They don't all have to spark joy. Some of them can just be fine, present, adequate. You can care about something without loving it. You can invest in something without being passionate about it. You can show up consistently to things that feel neutral, and that consistency can be its own form of devotion. Second, stop treating indifference as a problem to solve. Sometimes when you feel nothing particular about something, that's not a sign that you need to dig deeper or try harder or find a new perspective. Sometimes it's just information. Sometimes it means you're tired. Sometimes it means you're human, and humans aren't designed to feel intensely about everything all the time. Let indifference be indifference without making it mean something about your character. Third, recognize that forced positivity is still force. When you pressure yourself to find the good in everything, to be grateful for every challenge, to love every opportunity for growth, you're not being positive, you're being violent with your own experience. Real acceptance means letting some things be difficult without having to transform that difficulty into wisdom. Some things are just hard, and that's enough. Fourth, practice the art of showing up without enthusiasm. You can be present without being excited. You can be reliable without being passionate. You can fulfill your responsibilities without loving them. This isn't settling, it's sustainability. It's recognizing that enthusiasm is a weather pattern, not a way of life. And you don't need perfect weather to tend to the things that matter. Fifth, let good enough be genuinely enough. Not everything needs to be optimized or elevated or transformed into something better. Some things can just be what they are. Your Tuesday can be just Tuesday. Your job can be just a job. Your relationships can have ordinary moments that don't teach you anything profound about love or life or yourself. And that's not a failure. That's relief. Sixth, honor your capacity for feeling. You only have so much emotional energy. If you spend it all trying to manufacture love for things that don't naturally inspire it, you won't have any left for the things that do. Save your passion for what actually moves you. Let everything else exist in the gentle space of neutral acknowledgement. The strange thing is, when you stop demanding that you love everything, you might find that you naturally love more things. Not because you're trying to, but because you're not trying to. Because you've created space for authentic feeling instead of performed feeling. There's a difference between being grateful and being pressured to be grateful. Between finding meaning and being required to find meaning. Between loving your life and being told you should love your life. The first feels like grace. Second feels like work. I think we've forgotten that some of the most peaceful moments are the ones where we're not trying to feel anything in particular. Where we're just present, just breathing, just existing without having to justify that existence with joy or gratitude or passion. Maybe that's what contentment actually is. Not the presence of love for everything, but the absence of the requirement to love everything. You don't have to wake up grateful. You don't have to find a lesson in every difficulty. You don't have to transform your pain into wisdom or your boredom into opportunity. You don't have to love your Monday or your job or your commute or your responsibilities. You just have to show up, present, honest, human. And sometimes that's the most loving thing you can do, for yourself and for the world. Because there is something beautiful about a person who can move through their ordinary life without needing it to be extraordinary, who can be present to what is without requiring it to be what it isn't, who can exist peacefully in the spaces between passion and purpose. The world needs more people who know how to be genuinely okay with being genuinely okay, who can offer their steady, unglamorous presence without apology, who understand that love doesn't have to be loud to be real, and life doesn't have to be passionate to be meaningful. I've been thinking about this idea of enough, not as a limitation, but as a liberation. Enough joy, enough growth, enough gratitude, enough love. Not because you can't have more, but because you don't need to prove you deserve what you already have. 8. What if the most radical thing you could do is stop trying to love your life and start trusting that it's okay to simply live it? If you're tired of performing enthusiasm for an audience of one, if you're ready to explore what it means to exist without having to justify that existence with joy, this channel is for you. Subscribe if you want to join a quiet space where neutral is normal, where ordinary is enough, and where you don't have to love anything to be worthy of love yourself. Because the deepest peace might not come from learning to love everything, but from learning that you don't have to.